Hey everybody, Ashley Francis here, the holistic psychotherapist, and today is part 2 of a 2-part series on emotional numbness, and you can find the link to part 1 in the description below. This part is going to focus on why is it so hard to treat emotional numbness, and also ways that we can access our emotions so that we can start getting out of this state of emotional numbness. So first, let's start to talk about why is it so hard to treat emotional numbness? And the number one reason is that emotions, by and large, by their very nature, are hard to identify. It's not very easy. Most of us are able to access the very basic emotions, right? Happy, sad, mad, glad, and all sorts of variations of that. The older we get, the more exposed we are to variations, and we're able to identify some of those things. But that's really about it. We're not able to get to the complex lower levels of emotions and really understanding where they come from. So just by the very nature of emotions themselves being so layered and vast, it's really hard to be able to identify them. So it's not your fault. Another reason is because that it can be really hard to decipher emotions from bodily sensations. So let me give you an example of that. Let's say that your boss confronted you at work for something that you did. Now, in the moment, you are very well aware that you're pissed, right? This person just really pissed you off, and you're aware of your heart rate increasing, your palms being sweaty, you may be flushed in the face. You're very well aware of the fact that you're heightened. Your adrenaline's going, cortisol is pumping, you're pissed. And you also probably have an awareness that you are pissed. So you've got the bodily sensations and you've got some of that surface level recognition of emotion. But it isn't until later when that stress response starts to die down and you're able to connect with more feelings that you realize that the real reason why you were so pissed wasn't because your boss was calling you out on a mistake. That's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. You're okay with that. But rather, it was because they did it in front of your colleagues. So really what you were feeling was embarrassed. Another reason why it's so hard to treat is because, by and large, our society is very logical. We very much value science and logic and reason for the most part, but more so compared to our emotional world, which tends to be viewed as more weakness. So it makes sense that if we are conditioned to minimize the heart and really value the head, that we just don't really have the opportunity to be able to practice this stuff because it's not really expected. And we don't have curriculum that is designed to teach these things in school, although I will say that this is changing. There are more emotional components that are being taught in school. But by and large, I know my generation and other generations, we didn't get this stuff. So how in the world are we expected to know it? And finally, another reason why it's hard to treat is because of unresolved trauma. Now, I want to be clear here that there is a common misconception. I hear this quite a bit, that clients will say that, well, I didn't have any trauma. I didn't have any majorly terrifying incidents, or there wasn't any abuse, no accidents or anything like that. So I don't have any trauma. Well, that's what's referred to as big T trauma, big T. And the other type of trauma is little t trauma. And an example of this would be how others reacted to events in your life. That could be traumatic in and of itself. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you got into a fight with a bully at school. And it was a really stressful situation. You talked to your friends about it. They were supportive. You stood up to the bully and you handled it really well. And you're really proud of yourself. Well, that doesn't sound very traumatic, does it? However, when you went home and you told your parents about it, you were all happy and proud of yourself, and they minimized it. They said, so that was what you were supposed to do. What's wrong with you? Or they may have even shamed you for getting into a situation with a bully to begin with. What were you even doing? What were you even thinking? You're so stupid. You should know better. Those are all very common things that I hear a lot. So that in and of itself could be traumatic just simply because you didn't get validated. It was a really difficult situation for you. And now at the time you were feeling like, hey, I handled this really well. I'm proud of myself. And then after having been exposed to your parents' reaction, it changed your whole perception of it. So now you might have taken that example and brought it into adulthood in thinking that, well, it doesn't really matter how well I engage in conflict resolution. I can do whatever I want. I could actually show out because it doesn't matter if I handled it well or not. I'm not going to get the proper recognition for it. That's what I internalized long ago. Even though you don't need recognition as an adult, it's sort of what you've internalized. So these are examples of smaller T trauma. Okay, so now let's talk about how to feel. Some of these strategies that you can start practicing right now. So first and foremost, this is paramount. This is imperative. You must have this first step absolutely down, and that is to have the right mindset. The mindset that you want to decide to connect with your feelings. There are many people that go their whole lives lacking self-awareness and lacking the buy-in or the desire to even connect with their emotions. I'm sure you know people like this. So just simply making the decision that this is something that you want to do and you see the value in is huge, and it's where we start. Then after that, you want to admit to yourself that bad things happen, right? Sometimes we can be a bit idealistic in believing that we need to have things be happy and positive all of the time. And what happens when we do that is that we start to invalidate the fact that bad things are happening as well. And that if we can adopt the attitude that things are just neutral. No matter if it's happy or sad or bad or terrible or embarrassing, no matter what, if we can see emotions as neutral, we tend to be a whole lot better off. And this is hard to overcome because our society is so focused on looking at things from a binary perspective. And there's this over focus on you need to be happy. Something's wrong with you if you are not happy. That's not the case. We're emotional beings. We're supposed to be sad. We're supposed to be mad. We're supposed to grieve. So when we start to see all of these things on an even playing field, it starts to reduce some of the resistance around feeling emotions, and then it's no big deal. No matter what, if you're happy or sad, there's no rating system. It just is, and it's just another feeling. And another thing to focus on is that really treating your emotions as indicators. It's something that is trying to get your attention. It's a flashing light that is saying, hey, bring your attention here. There's something going on. So whether that, again, that could be for the happy, the sad, whatever, it's just simply trying to get your attention. If it's something that feels good to you and pleasurable, maybe the message is that, hey, you need to do more of this. If it is something that is scary, it could be maybe you need to think about this a little bit more. Maybe you need to back away from it, or maybe you need to lean into it more. Just because it's scary doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad for you. Either way, it's just a way of being able to get your attention so that you can internalize it a little bit more and decide how you want to react to it. Okay, so once you've got the mindset down, the next thing is to move your body. You want to train your consciousness to feel. And the best way for us to do that is to get some movement. So examples would be engaging in yoga. You could do things like Tai Chi or Qigong, anything that is designed to get your body moving. You could do dancing. At the very minimal, you could do a shake, just shaking your body when you are feeling tense or stress, because just being able to move your body, even so slightly, gets the nervous system moving, and it starts to move those emotions that tend to get stuck. So after mindset, absolutely need to train your consciousness to feel by moving your body. Could be through exercise, anything that you need to do to be able to get those things to move in. And then finally, to listen to your inner dialogue. Yeah, we need to listen to what's actually going on. If we are too busy, we're busying ourselves with other tasks, and we're not listening to our inner dialogue, then we're just running from one task to another, and we're not actually taking the time to feel. When we listen to that inner dialogue, it's a good indicator and a good roadmap of what to do next. Okay, so that will do it for our discussion on emotional numbness. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Take care.